Hello everyone, welcome to episode 13 of the Daily BE, the Daily Bespoke Edge. And today I have a very simple topic we're going to discuss, but it's very important, and that is the rules of buttoning your jacket. Whether it's a suit, sport coat, blazer, there are some basic rules on which buttons should be buttoned and when. You probably heard that you never button the bottom button on a jacket, and that's absolutely correct. And that goes back to King Edward VII, who, if you recall from an earlier BE episode, he was a rather large king that his tailors, as the story goes, couldn't really keep up with him. And so he stopped buttoning his bottom button, not only on his jackets, his coats, but his waistcoat, his vest. And that kind of stuck. People around him started to do the same thing so as to not offend the king. And so here we are, none of us button our bottom buttons. Now, if you have a one button coat, that's what this is. That's a no-brainer. You button the only button you have, right? If you have a two button coat, which is predominantly, that's your modern coat today, your modern suit or sport coat, leave the bottom one unbuttoned and only button the top one. And in fact, a lot of coats today, they're designed, they're tailored with that in mind. So if you do button both, it's going to look a little wonky. If you look in the mirror, you'll know what I mean. It's just not meant to be closed up. And you have more movement too when it's open. About a three button coat. If you have a three button coat, one, I think you should take a long, hard look at it and decide if you want to get rid of it and maybe have a more modern suit, which is a two button. But if you're going to keep it, make sure you only button the center button. And I suppose it's debatable if you want to button the top one. I think you can. It kind of depends on the coat and your preference. I think personally it's just a little bit too kind of buttoned up looking. And I think it's a little more casual, and not in an overly casual way, but it's just a nice look to have only that center button buttoned. Four button suits we're not even going to talk about. But one last thing I'll leave you with, and that is a general rule of thumb. If you're standing, have your suit jacket or your sport coat buttoned. I realize it's kind of comfortable to keep it open like this sometimes, but it makes a world of difference. It just looks a lot better when you're standing, when you're walking, when you're up and about, to have this buttoned. Now, if you're seated, usually that's when our coats get a little bit tight, and so it's good etiquette to kind of unbutton it. The last thing I'll leave you with, this is a little bit of a pro tip. Get good at doing the one-handed open, and do it for emphasis. Like if I'm trying to make a really important point, I might unbutton it and lean forward. It's kind of cool. Play around with that. So that's the general rule of thumb. Don't button the bottom button, and predominantly you'll have a two button suit, and so you just button the top one. There you have it. All right, hope that helped. We will be back tomorrow with a different topic for a different day. Thanks a lot.